Here to keep the chase going, share information, spread unity, preserve our heritage and our culture. We're trying to achieve something that you just can't catch. We're always trying to find a better way, trying to make better dogs. That's what Dixie Doggers Podcast is. That's who we are. All right, everybody, we're back at you here. Dixie Doggers Podcast coming to you. We've had a lot of guests in the past few weeks that are a lot of them have businesses and companies, things like that, and they've taken our sport that we do to a little bit of a different level than just going hunting. And when you have a lot of dogs, you got to have the proper tools and equipment. You got to have a place for them. You got to have the correct housing. And I met a guy a while back who has found a solution and a way to incorporate that into the hog dog world as well. He has a business and it's called Animal Housing Solutions. And he has taken a set of kennels to a whole nother level. When you order a set of kennels from him, I've seen this man go from one end of the United States to the other and back. And I've looked at, I guess every type of kennel that he's built, and I don't think you will find anything that's any better in my eyes. And apparently, in most of the people's eyes out there that have used him, because he stays busy. So our guest tonight is Mr. John. Anybody that knows him out there through our social circle deal, we call him Spud. Mr. John, how you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you fellas?
We're still here. That's about it.
Good
We're
deal.
hanging on. So
Yeah.
tell us who you are, and give us a little background on your business and what all you do there with that.
Well, I guess we'll start at the beginning. I started in dogs. I don't know. I was a small child, and we field trialed bird dogs.
Mm-hmm.
That was my start in dogs. I've been a houndsman almost my whole entire life. I love dogs, and I've progressed in dogs and kind of found my groove in the sport of hog baying and hog hunting. Is where I've landed for the last 20 years, and I really enjoy it. Don't hunt as much as I'd like to, but the hog baying, I try to make as many events as I can. But yeah, I saw a need for kennels, and I'm a fabricator, iron worker, most of my career for about 29 years. And I was called off the road by my youngest daughter, was 23 at the time. And, she had taken ill, and she's going to be fine now. We've got her under control and took care of. But in the meanwhile, staying home and off of the road, I built a kennel and sold it on, social media pretty quick. And, long story short, we're over 700 kennels in 17 states, with Animal Housing Solutions. And we just try to build a quality product, that matches. We're houndsmen, building, the best that we can, to provide. It's all about the dog for us. At the end of the day, we love our customers. We're grateful. We've got great friends in the sport, but at the end of the day, it is about the dog. And as long as the dogs are doing great and safe and well kept, we're happy with our product, and we believe that our customers will be too. The kennels we build to order. So, I don't want to, I always tell my customers, I'm not trying to sound like a sales pitch when I say it, but we want to build you your kennel, not a kennel. Mm-hmm. So that's why we build them to order, so you can get every feature in it that you need. We've got one model particular that's taken off a little bit, and a couple of people are starting to order them once they saw them. And, we'd actually got with a fella that owns a pretty well-known baying dog. And he told me what he wanted in one. And now we call that the goose model. So, that's starting to take off, and people are actually just calling and saying, hey man, what kind of quote can I get on the goose model? So that's taking off, and I'll thank Randy for that help.
That's pretty good. Pretty cool.
Yeah, so we're doing pretty good that way. But other than that, we're just trying to stay busy. We've got a few families that are making a living on what we're doing. We're helping the dog community, the houseman. It's easier to take care of your dog. Your dog lives a little better.
Ain't nothing wrong with that at all.
You can't beat that.
That's what we all need to. I think that's where a lot of people kind of lack a little, even though they don't intentionally lack on that part. We're so used to just, a dog needs a chain spot and a blue barrel out there, which in all reality, a lot of them can make it just fine. But the more comfortable that you have your animals, the better health that they'll be in.
And the less maintenance it is.
Yes, and the less maintenance it is.
I promise. I take care of 26 chain spots every week.
How many kennels?
I don't know how many count. Yeah, I don't ever count the kennels. I ain't got to rake them. All I do is spray them out. And I promise I'd much rather spray them out than rake.
So there's really I could see where there's a good demand for it. Yes. There ain't no doubt about it. So
go
ahead.
We put a waste trough on the back of them when they request them. And I actually have, one of my 4-bay units has the waste trough on it. And I'm going to tell you, you hose the pen out, you go to the end of the pen, you spray the waste trough out, it goes into a collection, container, whatever you want to use. And mine is a 5-gallon bucket with a bunch of holes drilled in it. The liquid seeps out. Yeah. When it fills up with solid, I carry it out and dump it. It's a easily maintained, clean, keeps the smell down. Your dogs live healthier. They work better. They perform better. You're prouder of them. It's just a win-win for everybody, And, so the chain spots, I believe there's some dogs. I have a dog. If you put her in the kennel, she's depressed.
Yep.
If you put her on a chain, she's just as happy and lively as can be. So some dogs will choose their own, type of containment. And, the containment is a necessary evil. If I could let all my dogs run loose, I would, but I can't for their own welfare. So that's the need for the containment. We come up with a solution to house them. And, we've done, not just kennels. We've done an elephant enclosure that went over to a plantation where some people actually had an elephant, and it was erected by another company. But we've done aviaries, exotic animal enclosures, breed specific, species specific designs, whatever we need to do. It's for all animals. So I think at one time I talked to my daughter about maybe putting the grandkids in one if they got out of line.
There you go. I'm fixing to have 2 grandbabies this summer, so I'm gonna need a.
I got a 2-bay.
Yeah, just a 2-bay.
Yeah, that'll work.
Man, having somebody like yourself who I've seen a lot of kennels over the years, and there's a lot of guys that build them, and but they're really not houndsmen or dog men. They do it just as a little side hustle, make a few dollars, and there ain't nothing wrong with that. I ain't knocking it at all. But a dog man knows more what they need. Like you said, it's a solution to it.
Right.
And so that I encourage everybody listening to check out your products for sure. And I ain't saying that just because you're on here. It's a fact. It's a top-notch product. I know you've donated kennels to us for our Shankathon hunt. You've donated to I don't know how many. I know you did with the Tulsa Standard hunt, and when you show up, if somebody wins one, when you show up, they just go ahead and order another one most of the time.
Yes, yeah, we've done that. The last couple of years we have donated to, we donated one Shankathon and a couple of them to the Tulsa Standard Hunt.
Yep.
The Boars N Broads guys, they're great guys. I want to help every chance I can get. I believe if you can help and get the opportunity to help and you don't, then you're wrong.
Yep.
We're not here. Life is not a competition. You're supposed to help your fellow man any way you can. And if you see somebody struggling, give them a hand up. Yes, I try not to give anybody a hand out, but everybody a hand up that I can.
Hey, there ain't nothing wrong with that. We were at AutoZone yesterday morning, and this is one of those stories. It's kind of a feel good story. I got up yesterday morning, got in the truck to go to the job, and my foot went to the floor on the brake. I said, what's wrong here? I got out, told Nate, I said, turn the wheel to the right, and there's just brake fluid pouring out. I said, well, we're going to be one of them days. So anyway, I had to get a caliper, rotor, everything is just chewed up and shot. And I don't want to half-ass it, so I just replace all of it. We get up to AutoZone, and when we were headed up there, I told Nate, I said, I just feel anxious today for some reason. I said, I just having one of the days. And Nate said, well, usually that's because something good's going to happen. Well, we get to AutoZone, we get our parts, and there's a gentleman there, and he's an investigator. And he's an older gentleman, and he does not know how to use Cash App. And he doesn't have any other money with him. And his car or his vehicle is messed up, and he needs a battery or something on it. And they couldn't figure out how to work it. And I told him, I said, I'll ask my son. Nate looked at it, he's like, well, I don't know how you could pay for it with that. And, I told Nate, I was like, well, can you just Cash App you the money and you just pay for it there? Well, with your card? Cause he didn't have his card with him. The man didn't. Nate said, yeah, I can do that. And we done that. And then, so the gentleman left, he's on his way, he's happy. And the manager of AutoZone gave us a courtesy discount and then gave us, I think, 3 or 4 discounts on everything. Saved us like $100 on $300 worth of stuff.
Well, see, that's a blessing. The good Lord rewards that.
Exactly. But I wasn't doing it. We weren't doing it for that. And we really didn't do nothing, but all we did was just take 2 minutes out of our life to help somebody just figure something else out. The man had the money right there, He just didn't know how to use that process. And to be honest, I didn't either. I don't know how to use all that junk. It was funny because you had a guy that was 70 years old. You had a lady that was 60 years old. You had two other guys that were between 40, 45 and 50 years old. And all of us were standing there looking at each other like, you know how to do this? Like, no. Do you know how to do it? Like, no. And so let's call the youngest guy.
Yeah, get the youngest one around. That technology will run off and leave us now. It does.
Yeah, man. But no, like you said,
I'm technologically challenged.
Yeah, I know that you help people all the time, and I mean, we really appreciate it.
Oh yes.
Well, we do what we can because you're supposed to. I got a thing that I've also got a little dog supply store here in town, and it exists just for the houndsmen around. We're surrounded by hunting clubs everywhere, just about on all sides of us, as far as you want to drive, are hunting clubs.
Yeah.
And we had no Garmin dealers. One place that sold dog food. And in chasing down Garmin collars one day, I decided I've got a storefront. I'll just put a Garmin dealership in it. Mm-hmm. And so we do that. Well, now I have a policy that every youngin that's raising a pig or a steer for school, they get a sponsorship. Every kid that comes in that's riding in the local rodeo deal, they get a sponsorship. Whatever I have to do, we sponsor every child that comes in my door because it's what you're supposed to do. You keep them children on a horse or in an arena, and they're not in the streets and they're not on drugs. They ain't out there just whatever, So we do a lot. Our local school, we sponsor just about every sports team they have. But we have to.
Yep. I mean,
It takes the village.
It does. And that's something that has fell by the way over the years. There's a lot of small businesses that do that. A lot of small businesses. And a lot of us can't really even, as far as monetary wise, it doesn't even make business sense. But as far as morals and standards, it doesn't make sense not to do it.
Well, exactly. And I look at it like this. If I am supporting all these things around me and it costs me, say I get down and out because I've supported all these things. Well, there's plenty of things around me that I have supported that's liable to give me an option to get myself back up with.
Yes, sir.
You know, you kiss the old adage of spend your money close to home is liable to come back, you know? I believe in helping people. We're not here to benefit off of people's pain and sorrow by no means. We're not taking advantage of people. A person takes advantage of people in business is nothing but a bully in the business world, in my opinion. So you got to help people. Mm-hmm. You have to help people. You're supposed to. And anytime I try to help somebody and they tell me thank you, and I tell them don't thank me, you know, thank God. You know, how can I repay you? Well, give to an orphan or a widow, or, you know, do good.
Just pass it on.
Yes, just create a random act of kindness and you'll be surprised, you know. It was just a saying I learned in elementary school, which was a really long time ago, said, courtesy is contagious, you know, you should try to start an epidemic.
Yeah.
And, you know, common courtesy's losing its way nowadays, but we still have to try.
Yeah. And that's the thing about it is if we don't pass it on and we don't teach it, we don't show it, it dies. It just goes away. That's like the Sunday dinners at Mama and Papa's house. That's a thing of the past nearly. You know, there's still people that do it, but it used to be everybody done it. You know, when we were younger, you know, when you were in your teens and early years, I guarantee you family was way more tight knit than it is now.
Yes.
Our family, my family's pretty tight, but it's not as tight knit as it was when I was a kid. We try to make it happen. Life gets going so fast and man, it consumes you. But that's not even the important thing. Everybody's running, chasing a dollar. Yeah, that does help. But at the same time, when you get older, you stop and look and you're like, man, it ain't even worth all that.
No, it's, you have to take your time to live a little. You really do. And you know, honestly, I'm pretty committed to the business, and I do work, a lot, a lot more than I work a lot more than I have. You know, I put a lot of miles on the vehicle. I'm on the road a lot. But when I can, I pile into, Winfield, Downsville. It's hard for me to get all the way out to Texas to like the Cantrell Bay Pen.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to get out there.
It's a long ride out there for you, but.
Yep. Louisiana's about 10 hours for me.
Yeah. But you get out there to Nixon or one of them. That would be what, 17? 17,
yeah, it's a little far. Yeah, it's a little far. That's a, kind of a vacation type trip for me, just to go to a bay into.
14 or 15 for us.
Yeah, it's a good drive. So I don't quite get a chance to get out there, but you know, old Jake runs a pretty good outfit with the hogband.com.
Don't give him the big head.
No.
Or bigger head.
Yeah. Well, I'll take some air out of him by letting him know. He knows he can't do it without all the help he gets.
I tell you what, he's got a good crew together, don't
he? Yes, he does, man. And I love those events. I go and I stay. That's where I get to unwind. Fortunately, there's enough cell phone service in Downsville that, my office lady she has service, but I just kind of don't get much service out there. So, I'm able to cut loose and unwind and base some hogs and have a good time and enjoy people.
Yeah, I like it out there myself. When we hadn't got to go. We missed the last couple, and I tell you what, I've missed it too. You know, it's once you get to going pretty regular, it's you get to make friends with everybody, become a family, and you miss one or two of them. It's like, man, what? Shoot, you know, you get to missing seeing everybody.
Yeah. We, I want to say we look forward to them. I know I do. I enjoy, you know, I've got a pretty wide range of dog background. Like I say, my start was bird dogs. Mm-hmm. We raised English pointers and field trialed them all over the country. Then, as I got older and more rambunctious and braver, you know, I got into the hog hunting. And when I could go by myself, I want to say I caught my first hog. I actually got a picture of the very first hog I ever caught with my own dog. I was by myself. It was a solo hunt. And it's a Polaroid picture. You had to shake it to develop it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm old.
Oh, that's all right.
It was
August of
1994. Yeah, Outcast think about it. They sure did. Yeah. August of 94, I caught the first hog. And I've been an active hog hunter ever since, got a few on the wall, but it's just been a fun ride. I love a working dog. I love seeing a dog work. And I don't care. I'll go to any field trial, the cow dog trials. I love just seeing working dogs, man. A dog is one of the most loyal creatures you'll find. Yes. You know, a dog is loyal. And I was telling somebody today that if a dog does not like a certain individual, you should keep your eye on them. I trust my dogs.
Yes, without a doubt.
But yeah, I did I raised American Pit Bull Terriers for a while.
Yeah.
They were a wonderful dog. I have, you know, everybody's got a preference in their bloodlines and stuff like that. I learned a lot about the bulldog as far as the heritage, the history. It's I guess my favorite would be actually a cross, not really a certain line, but I always favored the Red Boy Rascal dogs.
Yes, sir. There's so many hog hunters that the older bloodlines like that, it goes hand in hand with them, because there's a lot of us guys that we were all into the bulldogs, to game dogs, and then we had to have another outlet.
Yes.
And so hog hunting became that outlet. And that way we could utilize these dogs, and they didn't just have to sit on chain, or we just didn't have to get rid of them or anything like that. And, but you can, I don't think we can ever talk too much about the bulldogs. So you go ahead and tell us about the bulldog lines, and your experience that you had, and tell us a few bulldog stories that the statute limitations has run out of.
Yes. Yeah, there was, you know, the bulldogs, man, they're a phenomenal dog. There's a man out there that wrote a bunch of books on the American Pit Bull Terrier, Richard Stratton. Yes, sir. And in one of his books, one of his quotes were, "After all, what other breed looks at a 6-foot fence as merely an obstacle?" Mm-hmm. You know, and honestly, that's the truth. They're loyal. You know, the pit was a nanny dog. You know, they were soft enough to guard your babies, but hard enough to handle any attacker or any would-be attacker, and protecting those children. Pete the pup on the Little Rascals. You know, they're a phenomenal dog. They're loyal. They're loyal to you more so than they are to their self. So yeah, it's kind of a really high up breed on my list of favorites. But I personally, like I say, the Red Boy Rascal dogs are great dogs. Mr. Floyd Boudreaux has produced an amazing line that stood the test of time again and again. You know, in today's world, everything's really watered down anymore from what I used to know. I've been fortunate enough to be around some of the greats, way back many years ago. I've had dogs off of some of the famous dogs. I believe it's Rodriguez is a grader now. I had a litter off of him at one time. You know, I've had some pretty good dogs, some well-bred dogs. But again, it always goes back to my favorite being just the Red Boy Rascal Cross. Mm-hmm. I've had some, had one in particular that stands out in my mind and always will. He was a Red Boy Jocko Paladin cross. And, what they called back then was a battle cross. And that dog was not actually, his lines he wasn't bred to produce, you know, for generations. He was bred to battle. And, it was actually ended up, you know, at the end of the day, it was a very successful breeding, because he excelled, you know, when I seen him born, he was a solid black little puppy, so I just named him Grim. He went on to get several initials in behind that name, so he's okay. He ended up being a pretty good dog.
It's hard to beat dogs like that. Like you said, the Red Boy stuff. I had a dog named Lily. She's that one dog that everybody talks about in your life that you get. I've been lucky and I've had a couple that were pretty decent. Not pretty decent. They were phenomenal. I can't take nothing away from them. I can't really be humble about it because they did it. I didn't.
Right.
But Lily was another level. Like you said, she was born with it. It was bred into her. There was no training and all that stuff. She just did whatever I asked her to do. And she, I kept her for right at 16 years. And I mean, that's a long lifespan, you know?
Yes, it is.
And, when she finally died, the last couple of years, she was just barely hanging on. And I probably should have done something different, but I didn't. And I said, I don't want another dog. You know, I'll take some hunting dogs and we'll just do that. But I didn't want another personal dog. But I told Nathan, I think it was yesterday, like you were talking about the loyalty of a dog. And I have not felt that since I had her. And it's dogs like that are special. And when you get a dog that is bred, performance bred dog, there's nothing like it. You look at everything else like it's just shit.
Because they still have all the great qualities of a pet, but then there's
they perform
otherworldly machine.
Another level. What was her name on paper? Machine. Lily the Machine. I mean, that son of a gun was, and I'm sure there's a million people out there that's got dogs that was better than her. But by God, she's the best one I had.
Well, you know, that's what I tell people. They ain't much, but they're all I got.
Yeah, that's right. And I like it.
I had one, and the one that spoiled me, the one that made me favor the bloodlines that I do, she was a little small female. I loved her. She was a precious little dog named Roxy. And, she was actually a granddaughter off of the Windy City Combine's Deacon dog.
Oh, Deacon.
And, she was Rascal on the bottom. She come through, War Eagle Kennel stuff. Yeah. That was, Snake Man's Pedro dog, Grand Champion Pedro. That's the way the Rascal came to her. But you know, a long time ago, I asked a man that had bulldogs since the 70s. He was considered the last great keeper of the Homer blood up until, you know, about a decade ago. Yeah. And, I asked him, I said, Mr. J, where can I find me a good dog? And he said, son, good dogs are where you find them.
That's the hardest answer, the best answer you can get to.
Yeah. And I'm like, well, you didn't help me none.
Yeah, exactly.
But he was right.
That's it. Oh.
He told the truth.
Without a doubt. He didn't say, well, here, I got you a good one. No, he told the truth.
No, and, you know, this man had, you know, a great many success stories. He was a very good and humble man. And I learned a lot character-wise from him. I was also fortunate enough to be around an area where a lot of, you know, well-known lines came from. At one point, I lived on the same property, of course, many years later than from where the Red Boy dog was born at. Anybody that knows bulldogs should remember who Pete Sparks was. It was Pete's place is where I lived at many years after Pete had passed. But so the barber in Lake Butler actually owned the Red Boy's mother, Susie Q. Gal McLeod. Cyril McLeod was his name. And so they were all from that area, and I was able to spend a lot of years in that area and learn a lot and acquire a lot of knowledge, abilities, and so on. And so I was real fortunate that way. And, you know, I went to the hog hunting and I still hunt not as much as I want to. Actually not real often, but I go when I can. And, the Bay Trials is another outlet for me. And I've been able to fall in with some very knowledgeable people, very friendly people. The Bay Pen family as a whole has been very welcoming and supporting, and they'll help you. It's not like they're going to steer you wrong to beat you. Nope. They like it, the dogs. It's about the dogs.
Yep. I agree. There's negative stuff about in anything that you do, of course. And for the listeners out there, there's listeners that hear negative sides of it because honestly, it's probably third or fourth hand just gossip. Go see for yourself.
Go to a Bay
That's how
Trial.
we done it. I mean, you yourself, you done that. You showed up and you went. You didn't just listen to what somebody said.
No, I had to see it for myself.
Exactly. I done the same thing. I'd been going up to Hickory Crossing and I'd heard several different things and I was like, well, I'm going to go out here to Louisiana and Texas. And we went and I have made a huge network of friends.
Yes.
Along the
well,
way.
You know, you got, and if you want to go to a hog bay and you don't want to drive all the way over here on this east side like I am, you don't want to go to, all the way to Louisiana, you've got Broughton Island in Brunswick, Georgia.
Yep.
You've got Hickory Crossing in Hartwell, Georgia. You know, you can go to there. You've got Abbeville. You know, I saw y'all up there. I saw y'all up there.
Yep, that was a good day this year.
I think y'all brought home a little hardware from there, didn't you?
Yeah, we old Tadpole and Dina and Cody Olin's Halo dog. We wound up in the bay off with them, and they drew a hog that would bay a little bit. And we drew one that was a smaller pig and just ran wide open. I'm not making excuses because it's not. All of us were laughing. As soon as the pig come out wide open, I mean, Cody Odom was sitting over there and he hollered a few choice words and just laughed, you know, because we all knew what was going to happen.
Oh yeah.
And that's the agreement that we had made. We could have split and just walked off and just split the money. But I said, you know what? I want to take my two young dogs and beat two of the oldest dogs that's there.
Right.
The two dogs that were there were the two winningest dogs on the property. So I said, right, man, if I could outright beat them, if my dogs outright beat them, then we done something. And,
yes,
we just had a hard draw. But yeah, we wound up with second place.
That's where the term comes from. Luck of the draw.
Yes, sir.
You know, these terms,
the year before as well at Hartwell, he got us and we got second place to the same damn thing.
I'll be dang. Well, it happens, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, you were there, you showed up, and you walked away with some hardware. and you had a good time.
Had a great time.
You know, I made it. I got there a little later in the afternoon, but I was able to spend some time with you fellas and the boys from Boars N Broads. I even think I got to pick on old Cody Godwin a little bit.
Yeah, I say Cody. Connor got to be there for a little while. He had to cut out early. I guess Connor, he's the only responsible one in our whole circle there. Connor seems like he's the one that's always leaving and going to work, him and Ryan. And,
I don't know now. Old Rodney's pretty responsible.
Oh, yeah.
You can depend on him.
Yeah, I can count on him. I count on him with one finger. I'm going to count on him with 5 fingers balled up. Now, that's my buddy.
Yeah, we do have to pick though, you know, and it don't matter where I'm at, how far away I am. If I look up, Rodney sees me and I see him, we both just grin.
Yep. Ain't no doubt. We went down there with Cody and them this past weekend and we had a good time.
Hey, that's a large time should be had.
Yeah, it was, there was a couple of guys from Texas that showed up, Trey Moya and Josh Blasky. Jonathan Torres, he didn't make it out there with them. They went and hunted South Carolina first, then come back and hunted, I think they hunted South Carolina and then just came on down there.
I actually delivered a brood pen to Carter's boss, Kerry.
Oh, okay. I thought, didn't you take one to Ryan the other day too?
No, I took 3 to Ryan's dad, Mr. Mark.
Okay.
Yeah, I delivered to Kerry in, I guess, Buckhead, and then would turn around the very next day and went right back to Athens and delivered to Mr. Mark.
There you go.
I think I ended up delivering 8 kennels last week.
That ain't too bad.
Man, you got to stay busy. It's harder to hit a moving target, I always was told.
There ain't no doubt about that shit. Right.
But I enjoy it. I'm not going to lie. Man, I enjoy it. It's brought me to meet the Dixie Doggers. You know what I'm saying? You guys are great.
What about all that now?
Well, in my opinion, you are, but hey, I don't get out much. But anyway, no, I enjoy delivering the kennels. I meet a lot of dog people, but I'm going to tell you, the most enjoyable part is I meet dogs. And you may think that's crazy, but you don't. I know you understand.
Oh, yeah.
I meet you, that's fine. You know, we become acquaintances and friends. You know. Exactly. And you show up with a dog and the delivery's going to take twice as long because I'm going to spend half the time petting the dog. Miles Threadgill. Yeah. He had a little bitty puppy. And I didn't know it. He was taking pictures when I was delivering because I spent all kind of time with his little puppy. And when I got home, I saw a post he posted of the kennel delivery, but it was pictures of me with his puppy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he caught me in the act, but I'm a bad one.
Was it that little jag pup?
No, it was a little red cur dog puppy he had.
Yeah. That's the one he got. Is that the one you got in Texas with it when we were in Uncle Earl?
No, this was before that because when I delivered to him, he said his birthday was the week of Uncle Earl's, and I said, you know, I've got a sponsorship, so I'll cover your entry, your admission and all to Uncle Earl's. If you'll show up, for your birthday, I'll take care of that part. And I think he showed up for his birthday. I just don't know how much he remembers of it.
Yeah, I was going to say, he showed up and
I showed him how to celebrate your birthday at Uncle Earl's.
Yeah,
exactly.
They hung out pretty well. I guess the whole time he was there. Yeah, he stayed with it.
He slept at my sister's house.
Yeah, I was going to say, he stayed with us.
And he didn't have anywhere else to go. No. He was holding on.
He was like, I'm here.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
I love Miles. That's my man. I talk to Miles probably every day, I think.
We'll be back after a quick break.
And now, thanks to the sponsors and friends of Dixie Doggers. Animal Housing Solutions.
Boars N Broads.
Crockett Taxidermy.
Hardcore Hog Dogs.
Southern Cross Cut Gear.
Ada Y Transport.
4L Kennels.
The American Doghorn Museum.
Unique Hounding Hunting Supply.
Hogbaying.com.
Tuskers Magazine.
Mud Creek Hog Dog Trials.
Well, that's the thing about my job. I met Miles. He reached out to us. He ordered a kennel. I delivered, and it was immediate friendship. He's a good guy. And I got to noticing at Earl's, he had so much fun. He didn't even realize they announced happy birthday over the speaker system.
No, he never even knew it.
No. He got a standing ovation and everything, and he had no clue.
He didn't even know. Yeah.
Yeah, but he's a good guy.
Man, everybody knows who I am. I'm like, you're famous here, dude.
Happy birthday. That's not. He's like,
yeah, it was his birthday. You had to celebrate the birthdays,
but
man.
That's them old sorry bay pen people. That's the way they treat you.
Yeah, just mean mistreaters, I'll tell you. But we had. I don't really care to go into too much details, but Memorial Day weekend we were at the Bay, and we had a family tragedy go on, and I had to leave early.
Yeah. And
the outpouring of support from those people around that bay pen when I left, I got phone calls from people, as I was leaving, driving home to get home to my family. There were calls. Randy Durrell called me, and hey, bro, I'm thinking about you, man. We're here for your support. Just on and on, people just supporting me, texting me and right on through the, old Donnie B, he texts me about every day, checking on you, man, making sure you're good, and so those things matter. And that's what people will find when they go to a bay pen. They'll find sportsmanship and camaraderie, and sure, there may be a little friction every long, but hey, it's going to happen. It's exactly. You have to bring a competitive spirit.
It wouldn't be, and that's the thing about it is when you go to compete like that, while you're running dogs, when I walk in there, I'm not friends with you. We're everything is set to the side. All I'm worried about is what I'm doing, the task at hand. Now, as soon as that 2 minutes is over with, okay, right back to reality. Now we'll go over here. We can hang out. We can drink a cold beer. We can talk or whatever. No big deal. Now, during that 2 minutes that I'm competing, if something happens to somebody there, that's the least of my worries is what's going on for that 2 minutes. And I don't mean by what happened to the person. I mean, like, I'm not worried about winning anything. I don't care. Call the hog out, grab the dog. Let's fix what's going on first. And that's what I'm going to say probably 98% of the people there that I know would do that. They'll pull their dog, pull their run to help somebody before they would worry about winning.
Well, I can tell you a fact. I've got a little young dog that she's coming along pretty good. The 3R kids, little Jake Robertson.
Yeah.
He let me run my little young dog with one of his older dogs in the old and young, in Downsville, Memorial Day. And he told me when we went in, he said, Spud, if this hog gets real rough on your young dog, we gonna hog out and call the run because we don't want to mess your young dog up. Now he was willing to just write off a run with his dog, a pro dog, for the sake of saving the dog. And that's what it's about. And this is, I think Jake's 16 years old and he's wise.
He was taught that from paying attention and from having people around him that are dog people. He's
right. They passed it on. Yes, he is wise beyond his years. He is, and he's a good kid. He does well with his dogs, but just the fact that he would sacrifice a chance to win, for the sake of saving a good dog, to me says a lot about character and the spirit around that bay pen.
Yep.
Yes. Because if you want to see folks pull together, let a dog seem injured, let something go on to where people need help. And everybody is there. A couple of years ago, or last year, I believe it was, Steve Lester had one, got injured pretty bad. And, everybody pulled together and man, there was people there. There was actually a vet there in attendance and things went very well, for helping and all. I'm not sure whatever happened, how the dog got, but the dog was pretty bad injured. And, so people pulled together. I've seen it at Broughton Island. People pull together if a dog happens to get cut or something. So the friendship is there. The camaraderie is there. The sportsmanship is there, but the competition is also something that comes with that. And yeah, hey, we shaking hands. You're telling me good luck when I go to the bay, knowing you're also in this bay. And when I'm shaking your hand saying thank you, and yes, I want to beat you because I came to try to win.
That's it, exactly, because you'd cheat your dogs if you didn't cry or if you didn't have that competitive spirit. Like I was making the joke with Tadpole, and I've known him for a few years, and we're just now. I'm not saying like we're not best buddies, or nothing like that, but I mean we're friends, and that's what he said. And literally, he told me like when he came up to me, he said, "I don't know." He said, "As good as them two right there look today." He said, "I don't know." He said he kind of laughed. He said, "You want to split it?" I said, "No, I want to bay it." And he laughed. We laughed it off because it's like if I had beat if the two dogs had beat their two dogs, it would have been just fine. Like there would have been no hard feelings. He would have got mad. I didn't get mad. And I've seen people lose their temper and throw a fit. A lot of that comes with getting in it too fast and trying to compete too much and, really doing more than what you should, spending more money than what you should spend. And so you're counting on it. And that can lead to a lot of frustration and an emotional roller coaster.
Well, honestly, at the end of the day, it should always be about the dog. Okay. And I've been to enough of these events that is every run going to be called perfectly? No. It's human nature. There will be an error every now and then on even the judge's behalf. It happens. Go to a ball game. The man's officiating the game. He's the umpire. I promise you're not going to agree with every call he makes.
No, look at the MLB. I mean, those guys have been doing it for how many years? And you got one up there, or was it Angel Hernandez? And that dude right there, he can't call a damn strike for nothing.
No, but, in hog baying, the judges that I've always seen have all been pretty fair judges.
Yeah.
They're going to make a mistake. Yeah. You're going to disagree with them every now and then. Yeah. It's going to happen. You're two different people. You can be completely in love with your wife. You're not going to agree on everything.
That's right.
So at the end of the day, if your younger dogs bested the older pair, then that's the way it was. Then the loser can congratulate the winner knowing the best dog walked away on top.
Yeah.
Because if it's truly about the dogs, pride is a hell of a burden for a dog to bear.
Yes, sir. Without it.
So it should always be about the dogs. Do they perform perfectly every time? No. Do they disappoint us? Yes. But you know what? At the end of the day, there's not another creature on this planet more loyal.
No. We're talking about having the ego and stuff. And with you coming from the bulldog background, did it tend to be heavy in the game dog circles? A man's ego, or was it more about just the dogs?
Well, earlier years, it was always about the dog. As it grew in popularity, and it's mostly the younger generation that adds more pride and more status. When it's truly about the dog, generally those will be your more productive people in that sport. When pride gets in the way, other things try to muddy the waters in their sight, kind of like kennel blind, or bloodline blind. I only want to stick with this bloodline. No, a good dog's where you find it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, in the bulldog world, there is a lot of pride. But my mindset used to always be, if you show me a man that can take a loss, I'll show you a man I can beat. Yep. Because I couldn't take a loss. It wasn't for pride.
No, it's just the competitive spirit in you.
And disappointment, because I believed in that animal and his abilities. And if he didn't come out on top, well, then I felt bad on myself because I thought I saw something I didn't, I guess, or vice versa, But I've always felt like pride will get in your way because it'll make you make emotional decisions and not logical decisions.
Yes.
So if you can set pride aside, and that's in any aspect of life, we can be better people.
Oh, I agree.
Because a dog does what he does because it's what he wants to do. He loves it.
Yes. Yeah, you're not
it doesn't matter. No, he's going to do what he wants to do. I got one, and I just leave my phone. I put him on a leash and walk him. I leave my phone at the house because if the phone rings and I answer, get on the phone, this dog will lay down in the road. I don't know what it is. He's attention deprived or something. I got to be talking to him while I'm walking him. If I'm on the phone, he'll stop and lay down. Yeah. But when you're paying him attention, he's at the end of that leash and he's walking and working.
Well, I mean, he's an attention hog. That's all he is. You done spoiled it.
Yeah, well,
attention. Ain't nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, he's he's a pretty little dog. He's off of some of Mr. Steve's stuff, the Flat Creek Kennel stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not sure exactly how his line goes all the way back, but the dog originally came from Steve. And I acquired him here a while back, and I really like him. I think he's going to be a good dog. I think he's going to be a pretty good dog. I think he'll pair good with this Jip I got from Mr. Linden.
Hell yeah. That'd be good.
So, maybe,
so how you come along in that part right there with your, I know you got you some dogs now and starting to compete with them. How you liking that part?
I'm enjoying it. I really am. I went for a long time. I did. I think y'all had a podcast with Randy Durrell, and he said something about, if you think you want to do it, come watch a wild and break out your wallet, get you some dogs and try it. Mm-hmm. And I pretty much, that's about the route I've taken. And I'll be honest with you, I enjoy it. It's a wonderful thing to spend time with that animal and send it in there to compete and to bay, and it does the right thing. And there again, I tried to find a good dog, and I didn't know when I went off Earl's I was going to leave with a dog, but I did. Yep. And so she done pretty good. We hit third in the 2-puppy with her at Downsville Memorial Day, and so she done okay. Her and her sister, a litter mate, they bayed together, and I think she's going to be a pretty good dog. She raised some eyebrows. Some people took notice of her. And then I got this other one to pair with her because I don't think she's really a one dog. But I'm still real green in it, in the baying part of it. So I'm learning.
I got you. We've got a couple dogs like that. And they're 2 dogs. They're Chaos. He'll one dog a little bit, but it's just whenever he's in the mood, I guess. He's not a consistent one dog.
Right.
But as far as the 2 dogs, him and his brother, they're pretty stout there together.
Yeah, she's doing well.
How
and She's 12 months now.
Okay.
At 8 months, I think Mr. Lynn won second in the puppy at Earl's with her.
Yeah.
And I got her at Earl's, and then I won we actually split third with Miss Bridget.
Okay.
Sweet. And Braveheart Kennels and the two puppies. So she's doing okay. She's coming along. She's at a stage now to where she'll bay again probably in October. She's out of the puppy, but now it's time to start progressing her towards, whatever her next step would be. So we'll see where she goes from there. And, man, something I've noticed that, the Catahoulas, for the most part, me just being a woods hunter, and not really messing with the competition bay dogs for so many years, they seem to me that they started late. They was kind of like more of a one-person dog, and that's just my opinion. I don't know that to be true.
That's my opinion too.
but man, I got around these bay dogs, and listen, the bay world, the bay movement has changed these dogs. They've bred for short enough dogs and fast, and so some of those other traits that I cared less for have left. And man, these dogs are firing early. They're puppies. They're firing early. They're just all outgoing dogs that love everybody, and it's gave me a whole new look on them. And in my opinion, was a great positive uplift for the breed as a whole.
Yes, I agree. But I wouldn't have a spotted dog on my yard or a Catahoula of any kind, for 20 years. I think I probably had 3 or 4 over those years. And like you said, they always seemed kind of weird. More of a one-person dog, and they would start later. I don't know. They just didn't fit what I done.
Exactly. Exactly.
And now we've got several cats, and they do good.
Yeah, they're I got spots all over my yard now.
Yeah, I brought one home from Hartwell, from the Plot Bay.
Okay.
Yeah. Mr. James Spears, he sent me home with a Jip. And she is a nice one, buddy.
Well, I'll tell you, I've been blessed enough to acquire a couple, off of some pretty good dogs. And of course I've got high hopes for them. Everybody does that when they get new dogs,
Oh yeah.
But I've got 2 that I can go ahead and compete with now. I've got 3 or 4 up and comers that I've got high hopes for. And, like I say, every one of them's a Catahoula. It's just, I like them. The older style, I'm right along with you with, I just wasn't into them. But man, these, the way they're producing them out now, man, they're full of fire. They're great dogs. Not that they weren't great before. They just weren't my style before. Now they've kind of adapted and they fit my style. My eye catches easily now to them that they're just good dogs.
It's really weird because, Spud, it's like what me and you were talking about, how they didn't fit our style. There were so many Catahoulas that I just, like I said, if I seen a good one, it was a damn good one. If you seen one that was good, it was like, damn, that's a great dog.
Yes.
But there was just so few and far between. And it was, it was kind of the same way with the yellow dogs, with the black-mouthed curs. You would find some black-mouthed curs, and they'd be pretty good, but they were not. I didn't see that many great ones. And then once we started going out to Texas and Oklahoma and Louisiana, it's the same thing with the yellow dogs. We've got some now. I mean, I wouldn't have a yellow dog for same way for 20 years. I wouldn't have nothing like that. And I'm telling you, we've got some now. And some of them's out of damn bay pen stock. They're all the same dogs. They all go back to the same stuff, but they have been bred for a certain way. Like you said, they were a battle dog. Yeah, these right here, they're ready to get it.
Right.
It's a different thing. It's a different damn deal now.
Yeah, they
Hell yeah.
yes, they get after it, man. They're just on fire.
You take that vape pen, pup, we throw that some bitch out there in the woods. Hell, it starts casting and rolling out with the damn drone dogs like it's done it its whole life.
Well, I'll tell you, this little Jip that I've had, you know, she's placed twice in both trips that she's been to a bay competition.
Yeah.
Well, she also, her litter mate, the litter mate that she split the third place with, in Dallas on Memorial Day. So actually, they use her in the woods. She's a woods dog.
Yeah.
And so, you know, she hit third place in the two puppy in Dallasville amongst top-notch competition. So, you know, the littermate brother is a woods dog, and a good one dog in a bay pen. So bay pen dogs and woods dogs, I had that discussion the other day with a friend of mine. He said, yeah, but will they find a hog?
Yeah.
I said, yes, sir. Yes, sir. They got plenty of prey drive, plenty of hunt. I've taken bay pen dogs, dropped them on the ground, and the next thing you know, they're 800 yards up under one.
Yeah.
You know, it happens. They can do both.
Without a doubt. I mean, let's see, you know, Pat's got all kind of dogs on Pat. And, of course, Pat, his is more woods oriented stuff, but he'll bring them to the bay pen, and he's given several of them out to run in the bay pen, and they'll get in there and work. And Randy, he's taking some of that stuff off of Goose. Well, he's got Goose Jr. in the woods catching hogs every weekend.
Yeah. Yeah. He caught a couple big ones here a while back. I was fortunate enough to get that story firsthand.
Well,
and in person.
We're gonna get him on here, and he's gonna tell us that story. We're gonna see if he can keep that story straight. Because Pat's gonna be listening. I guarantee you, Uncle Pat's gonna. If Randy slipped one time, Uncle Pat's on his ass.
Yeah, it's like white on rice. Yes, sir.
I love it.
Yep. You know, me and Pat, you know, when we got the Earls, remember Earls was kind of muddy this year.
Yeah.
Well, I had that old golf cart, and it was just a regular little old bitty tire golf cart, and I rode all over that place for a week.
Yeah, sure did.
And me and Pat was up at the front gate talking, and I got on the bug. I got on my little golf cart, and I was going to head around there to the backside. And I told Pat, I said, come on, go with me. I said, you just drive. You know, I rode all around there all week long, and I let Pat behind the wheel for about 5 minutes, and we stuck.
Got stuck, yep.
Yep, sure enough. I told Pat, but you know, all he asked me was, but did you have a good time?
That's it. I guarantee you.
That's all that mattered. Yes, I guarantee you. I guarantee you, Uncle Pat is a time to be had. He is. And it turns out that I've been around Uncle Pat many years ago.
Yeah.
And we realized that we had been around each other, and that kind of just, there again, dogs bring people together. You know, like the dogs I've met delivering kennels, my customers I've met, I have found that it's sadly true that a customer will become a friend before a friend will become a customer.
Yes, you ain't even lying, man.
But you know what? It's a blessing to have been able to meet so many people and meet so many dogs and talk to people. You know, I'm not a saint by any means, but I still try to give some of the good word of encouragement to people when I meet them. You know, I've been through a lot of things in life that maybe I shouldn't have came out of, but I have, so I got to give God the glory for that and all my accomplishments, because anything good in my life is because of Him.
Yes, sir.
So I get a chance to talk to people, a lot of people that may not get that word or that seed planted or whatever. And I try to do good by people. Like I say, I'm not a saint by no means, but I try to do what's right and try to live with a good, giving, caring heart.
You can't ask for no more than that. I mean, and I think anybody that, well, I ain't gonna say I think anybody that knows you for any amount of time, any length of time, they already know that, but they know that you're one of those guys that anything that you do, it's meant well. You're not doing something just for whatever reason. You're doing it for a reason.
Yes. I mean, and I do. There's full intent behind everything I do. I mean, hey, even if I make you mad, chances are I probably intended to. Hey, it's the truth, though, man. But no, I'm honest. I've got a sheriff's deputy friend of mine that said, he told me I was brutally honest. But I am, because, I'm not the guy that sugarcoat much. I generally say things how I think, and, I don't mean anything bad by it. And I hold myself to the same standard, though, if you do something and I say, well, now that was stupid. If I done the same thing, I would out loud probably say, well, now that was stupid, because it's not being harsh. I just, I was an iron worker for 29 years. So we weren't known to be refined.
Exactly.
So
we had that discussion, me and Cody and, Connor, all of us students. And believe it or not, it goes back to what you told me in Abbeville about being able to check your brother. Well, it was after Abbeville. Me and you were talking on the phone.
Yeah.
That's what it was. And, you said sometimes you gotta check them when they're doing something wrong or whatever. Cause I had it wasn't really a bad issue, but I got in my feelings about some stuff and didn't know whether just to huff up and stomp around and just or just call them out on it. And, it worked itself out real good. And we had that discussion this weekend about letting your brothers know, hey man, you're doing good, or let them know, hey, you're messing up.
Yeah, well,
and being able to take that in return as well.
Yes. You have to approach them the way they need approached. You be considerate about the way they're going to take it. But, the Bible even says, blessed is he who corrects an erring brother, for he has saved a soul. So, that's part of our instruction. Hey man, if you see Spud making mistakes, if you see me pushing that dog a little hard, if you see me, look like I might be a little impatient with my dog, talk to me.
Yep.
Hey brother, that's a good dog you got there. Give it a chance. And if we're brothers and we look at each other that way, then if you feel confident enough to correct me, then I should be comfortable with taking correction, because a man that won't take correction is doomed.
Yes, he can't flourish in life.
When you know it all, when you know it all, you're going to learn a new lesson.
You know it all, you don't know shit.
Exactly. Yeah, you're going to learn a new lesson. Yes.
You fix to learn a hard lesson is what it is.
Not be haughty or puffed up.
That's exactly right. And I think there's too many times that as men, we don't really express our feelings to other men, number one. And I still don't. And there's a lot of us that really don't, but I got people that I'm close enough to, they know if something's bothering me.
Right.
And then
right.
They inquire. And so it's good to know that I have somebody there like that. Like I said, I talked with you about some stuff and man, I don't talk my personal life with very many people.
Right. Well, it's like, I had a Army chaplain friend of mine, Chaplain Fisher, and, he just told me, cause I was never in the service, and, a great thank you to all who have served. But I was never in the service, but Chaplain Fisher told me that, they have, you have somebody there when you're out there, when you're on a mission or wherever, and it's called a battle buddy.
Yeah.
and everybody's got a battle buddy. And, so everybody needs, even a grown man, a masculine man needs somebody he can talk to that understands what's going on. Sometimes you got to vent. Yeah. And having a good friend, a brother, it's you could open up to or talk to about certain issues. Hey man, always having somebody to go to is help, because there again, it may not be financial aid. It may not be food you're taking somebody that's hungry, or shelter for somebody that's homeless. Just lending an ear to a brother, you can help. If you can help somebody, you're supposed to.
And I think that having a platform like this that we're on now, and we're really growing a lot. Here lately, we're steadily growing. And so I feel like it's to interact. And I'll be honest with you, Ryan Rankin's the one that really kind of pushed it out there. When we did that call in, he asked, he was the anonymous caller that called and asked Pat about men's health, mental health, And,
right.
And we've talked about this a few different times. There's a lot of people out there that struggle silently, and you don't have to. You don't have to struggle by yourself. Sometimes that's the only thing and it's not your fault, but it's not expressed. We don't have people like us on these airwaves being able to say, hey guys, I don't even know you. You could live in Australia, and if you're having a bad day, this is my phone number. Call me. I won't judge you. I can't judge you because I don't even know you, but you can just tell me whatever you need to tell me. And then hang up.
That's right. That's it. That's exactly my number. If anybody sees my number on my Facebook page, look, my number's there. My house is open. I have room. I have food. Anybody needs anything, I'm not turning down to help nobody, because he said that the good Lord said, of those you helped the least is how you helped me. So when I came to your door, you didn't close me, you turned me away or whatever,
Yes.
And I'm not sure exactly how it goes, but this is an example of you're supposed to help people.
Yeah, that's it. Because if you turn someone away, you turn him away.
Exactly.
It doesn't matter who it is or what it is.
Of those you love the least is how you love me. And so you have to help everyone. I actually saw a young lady last week that I saw her a year or two ago, and she was going down a bad road fast. And then last week when I saw her, she was healthy looking, looked clean and sober. She was working at a local store. I went in and I seen her and I said, well, hey, young lady, how are you? And she acted real shy. I said, what's the matter? She said, well, I didn't figure you'd even talk to me because you knew my past. Yeah. I said, ma'am, I love you. I'm required to love you. I'm required to love everybody. And I am so proud to see you are turned around and are doing quite well. And she teared up. She said, I got nobody to tell me that. Thank you. Yep. And all it was a chance passing, but the good Lord gave her a word of encouragement.
That's right.
So you should be able to talk to people and tell them good. If you can't, my mama used to say, if you ain't got nothing good to say, shut up.
Yeah, there you go. And like I said, there's a lot of that goes on in the newer generation. They are very expressive, and I've noticed that. My generation wasn't. If there was 5 of you guys and y'all were all buddies, and somebody's like, all right, buddy, see you later. We love you. You'd be like, oh, you're gay.
Never
be serious.
Like I see a lot of my friends, like I come up and we give each other hugs.
Yeah. Oh, no.
Yeah, exactly.
I can tell you from the time that I can remember until I hit grown and married, way on into that, how many times I hugged somebody.
Right.
It was my children, my wife, and my mother. One time I ever remember hugging my father, one time. And that's after you beat the dog shit out of him. And I'm serious. That's it. Like, we did not express it like that. And so now it's like Cody Godwin, like this past weekend, Cody, that's what I was just saying, man, thank you. appreciate it. You know, I was like, hey, let me give you some money on, you know, let me pay for some of this stuff. He's like, well, we're family now, you know. And those guys, they tell me every time we get ready to leave, hey, Bubba, y'all be careful. I love you.
Yeah, man. Yeah,
I do it too.
Well, it's an encouraging thing, honestly, man. There's nothing offbeat about it. It's straight. Great. A man can be masculine and still show some emotion.
Yeah, you can ask Rodney. I tell Rodney all the time. And Rodney's like that. He's like, I love you, Bubba. I love Rodney, but I will whoop his ass in a minute. I can be masculine as hell. I can give my elbow in the head and love him at the same time.
I got a brother like that.
That's how I show love most of the time is through physical violence.
Well, that's been one of mine. You know, I was fortunate enough to meet a man named Roy Walker. Back in 99. And, to this day, I will tell you, he is my brother. There's nothing, man, we've traveled this country and worked together, and, everybody, you know, he tells people about his little brother all the time. And when they ask him, do we look alike? He tells them we look just alike. Oh, yeah. And, yeah, he's a big old tall guy and looks like what? Yeah, he looks like Lawrence Fishburne. Yeah. Big tall guy that looks like Lawrence Fishburne, but he tells everybody we look just alike. But, I have traveled this country with him and worked with him, and that's my brother, you know. And every time I talk to him on the phone, I tell him, all right, I love you, bro. Be safe, you know. It's okay to show that you care. People need to know they're cared for. Everybody matters. Everybody is somebody's son or daughter, sister, brother, you know, everybody. So they matter. You know, I've been through some things in life that, like I say, I shouldn't have come out of, but I did. From, you know, early life, battling problems with addiction and things like that. And the good Lord has taken me out of all that and blessed me tremendously. So, you know, I want to thank him for that. And, so we all fail. We all need encouragement. We all need to pick me up every now and then. So I would encourage people to look out for their fellow man, because you are your brother's keeper.
Yes, sir. And that's another thing, Bud, like you just said, you know, your testimony on, you know, going through addiction and things like that. Man, when 30 years ago, you couldn't tell anybody that shit.
No.
They would be like, oh God, you can't go, you know, they would literally ridicule you to death over it.
Yeah, you're running for life. You'll carry a scarlet letter the rest of your life.
Yes. And I did. Like I really did. Like I got in trouble when I was a kid. I was a teenager. I was rough. I mean, people that know me now have no idea. And I'm glad. I'm thankful for that. Because I was a different person then. I wasn't me. You know what I mean? It was right. Totally different. And for a long time, for many, many years, it was always kind of drilled in your head by the people that I was around. They didn't just outright say it, but it was always kind of like that innuendo there of like, well, you got to hang out with us because nobody else wants you around. Or you can't let nobody know that. If they find out that anything like this happened, then blah, 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 you know, like they're not going to accept you. And that's not true. You'll find out, I found out through life that that's more normal than not, is somebody dealing with addiction or, and it doesn't have to be a drug addiction. It can just be any type of addiction they fell by the way when they were in their teens or early 20s. They got in trouble. I know some of them that's went to jail, that's went to prison and got out, and they're prominent, very prominent people now, you know. They make mistakes. And
we're human.
You can look past all that and move on. It's the people that make mistakes constantly and never want to better themselves. Okay, well, that's a different deal. But
right. Well,
we just we never were taught to express it like that. And I think that's why our generation was always kind of frowned upon. I ain't gonna say frowned upon, but always looked at it as like, damn, they're rough.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we sometimes, in some cases, we had to be rough, but, you know, falling down ain't what makes a man. It's what he does when he gets up.
Yes.
So, you know, hey, if you're going to, I have a friend of mine that's a CO at a correctional facility, a prison. Mm-hmm. And me and him was talking, and I was like, there's two kind of people there. You got them folks that's trying to go home and them folks that are home.
Yep, that's right.
So, everybody gets choices, man. Everybody gets a choice. Everybody gets a chance. Every decision you make, if you try to make the best, you'll be a better person for it.
That's right. And sometimes all you can do is your best. And it might not seem like it's good enough, but that's all you can do.
Right. And it goes back to what I used to believe and still do. I'm sorry, but if you're a bad character, your dogs probably won't be that great.
Yeah. Damn.
They'll no.
Damn it, Spud. Now you got me all messed up. No, you're right. No. I'm just cutting up, but yeah.
But yeah, if a dog, if a dog, or if you're not true in your heart, then your dogs will probably be fickle too. I just my personal belief is, I don't want hate mail or nothing over that, but it's
yep.
Huh?
Nate said your dogs reflect on you a lot.
Yes, they do. They do. And heck, I've even seen some people that the dogs in them tend to look alike.
Yes. I know one thing. There's, like you were saying about dogs being a good judge of people or a judge of character. I've had dogs that literally would not let a certain individual come around. And
yes,
I was like, what is wrong with this dog? Why is this dog acting like this? Because I knew the guy, and I was like, well, he's a pretty good old boy, like he ain't never done nothing. And he's like, I don't know why that dog don't like me. But in reality, as time went on, I got to finding out more and more as the years went on, and it was like, oh, now I remember why my dog didn't like me. Or now I know why. Not remember, but now I know why. Because
they'll see it.
That individual turned out to be somebody that we didn't need around,
Well, yeah, the dog, he hadn't done anything yet.
Yeah.
But the dog saw it. Dogs believe in character. That's the thing about a dog. If a dog don't like you, now there's some dogs out there that don't like anybody. And if a dog don't like you, you know it when you meet him. He don't wait on you to turn around and go tell all your buddies.
That's right.
And I've been very fortunate to where a lot of times dogs that really don't like people too much, I've been able to get around because I don't know why. Dogs and children like me, and I don't know why.
That's a good thing. And what I'm talking about in the situation I'm talking about, say if we're all at the bait pen, we're all standing over there hanging out, talking and carrying on, and I got a dog that's on my flatbed up there, and everybody's petting that dog, and one guy walks up and is standing over there 10 feet away, and that dog looks at that guy and puts them ears down and just kind of low growls.
Yeah.
And the guy ain't done nothing, ain't said nothing, ain't made a move. That's what I'm talking about. That judge of character right there. That son of a bitch picked him out.
Discernment.
Yes, because there's 10 other people there. Like you said, now there's going to be most of them dogs that Pat Loon has, they don't like nobody. And they're not prejudiced, and they ain't the judge of character. They just want to bite everything.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? That's the Pat Loon dog. Now that's a different kind of deal. So, but like you said, that if people will pay attention to them dogs, and dogs will tell you who needs to be there and who don't.
That's a fact. Now, Uncle Pat had a little old bitty puppy at Uncle Earl's.
Yeah.
That would eat you up.
Eat your ass up. But Pat was petting that dog.
Pat was petting the dog.
Yeah, he
had him on a leash.
Well, he beat him at first, and Pat was like, oh, he didn't mean it. I was like, it looked like he was serious to me.
Yeah, well,
he told me, he said, pet him. I was like, hell no, I ain't petting that dog. Don't pet that dog.
Yeah, I was standing there talking to Gene Reynolds, and he was rubbing his hand, and it was bleeding, and it had holes in it. I said, what in the world happened to you? He pointed right there at that little puppy Pat had on that little old leash thing. And he said, that dog bit me. And I looked down and I said, that little puppy's 8, 10 weeks old.
I mean, little bitty rascal.
Yes. And he said, yeah, I reached down to pet him and he eat me up. Old Gene was laughing about it, but he said, man, he eat me up. Go pet him. I said, no. But sure enough, I went over there and that little puppy, you reached for him and he was showing you whatever ivory he had.
Hell yeah.
So,
hey, being in Florida in the area you're in, have you ever had or know anything about the Cuban curds?
Yes, actually, I've got a customer in Miami that raises them and hog hunts with them. And it was funny because he told me, he said, well, the next litter I get, I'll give you one of the puppies. I said, well, he wouldn't do me no good. He said, why not? I told him that I can't speak Spanish. but he said, no. I'll have to look his name up. I don't know. I don't know offhand.
I didn't know. I mean, the only one I knew that offhand.
Alejandro is his first name.
Okay. I don't know. The only one I knew was Alex from Best Camo.
Okay, yeah.
The reason I asked is we wound up getting a pup. And I asked him a couple of questions a few weeks ago. And like you're talking about, this little pup is 4 months old and has a personality like it's out of this world. Out of this world. Yeah. I mean,
Coca is
like you said, if your phone rings, your dog would just lay down. This dog will lay down and push with her back foot like she's sliding that's our walk. She plays it is a mess. And I got a big old boar hog back there in the pen. And, but she showed him who the boss was yesterday. And oh man, I'm telling you, I was just curious if you knew anything about them or had handled any of them or anything like that.
No, I haven't.
They said they were.
I haven't had much experience with them. Yes, they are. And my customer actually explained to me that his uncle lives in Cuba in the mountains and raises them. And that's what he does is he imports them over here.
Okay.
And that's what he was telling me that they are kept, like they've got the Cuban version of Uncle Pat over there raising them dogs.
Yeah. It's like, they're like a damn jungle dog, like a village dog, man. They,
yes.
Alex sent me a video cause he told me, most of them are feral. He said, make sure you got a tracking collar on them and all that. He said, for sure. He said, even when they're young. And, which this one hasn't been too bad or anything.
I think she's got enough sense.
Yeah. She just shows her teeth constantly. Look like she's smiling, but like she looks like she's going to bite you.
Oh yeah.
But she just played.
Just like that M dog I got.
Yeah.
I think she shows them teeth more than him.
She does. But, speaking of teeth and stuff like that, let's jump back on them bulldogs before we get done with this thing. I know you got so much history on them bulldogs. Nate had some topics down there where he sent me. Did he send you the ones on the lines, which we went over the lines that you like?
Yes.
We don't even have to get into the lines and stuff. You could get into like some conditioning or, like some of the stuff that you do in a keep or stuff like that, even though that we don't do that anymore, just, general health.
Right.
I think a lot of people are interested in that.
Yeah, I'll tell you when it comes to, like attributes to certain lines, man, I'm going to tell you, everybody knows that Floyd stuff, has, they've got that alligator mouth. Those Boudreaux dogs, they come on down, you got Bully Son, Eli and Eli Jr. and, it comes on down to Maverick and Skull and, those dogs.
He didn't even have no hair on his head, did he?
Yeah, they wanted him off wherever he was. Yeah, wherever Skull was, they wanted him off of it.
That's so good.
And then the Homer stuff, the Homer stuff through mouths, which Rascal carried it out, generations on. That Homer stuff had plenty of mouths. And they just was, when you got the right cross, a lot of people, I've heard people say the Red Boy dog's very, very game, but, no mouth, but I'm going to tell you, I've seen red boy dogs that carried, competition for those, Homer dogs and stuff. There's red boy dogs with mouth.
Now they say that the mouth coming there when they crossed it with the Jocko and Yellow John stuff when they interacted.
Well, I'm going to tell you that.
I don't know.
Yeah, David Tant, he was onto something. He really was. And what I used to like was I got to listen to the stories, from what now are the legends, back then were the old timers. Mm-hmm. And I know Mr. JW and David Tant were partners on a little female that, they lost to, and she ended up becoming what most people know as the double grand champion Tornado.
Oh yeah.
Ken Allen had her, and, JW and David Tant were partners on a dog, and she made champion on them. And, JW told me, that the Tornado dog was an amazing dog. And I really don't know how she was bred, but she was an amazing dog and just a creature and a freak of nature. Those are the stories I like to get. I think Jay and them actually shipped the dog all the way to Thailand. One that I was blessed enough to be able to see schooled. I watched him graduate, and then they took him to Thailand and came out on top with a grand champion Dante. This is 20 years ago, of course, but I got to talk to some of the greatest people from all over the world. I've got to meet with the Bulldog world, and the best I would say was actually some of the confirmation shows and weight pools, believe it or not, because you get to meet a bunch of people.
Oh yeah.
A lot more people show up for those back then than contests because of obvious reasons. But I like any productive dog. Like when people talk about woods dogs, hog hunting, do you like silent dogs or open dogs? Honestly, I would prefer to hear them bark when they're looking at him, but I really don't care as long as they're productive.
Yeah.
So a good dog, whatever the bloodline is fine with me. I don't really care as long as he's productive.
I agree on that, because that's one of those things, like you said, I think for the historical reasons, having certain lines, people, like you said, they became, like kennel blind or pedigree blind on certain things. They're like, this is the only thing that'll work. But it seems like when they started making those crosses is when the big stuff happened. When they were taking dogs out of this line over here and crossing it back with something like over here, like you said, with the red boy stuff, once it got crossed over to the Jocko and then the yellow, it exploded as far as hardness on the mouth.
Yes, yeah. There was Ed Farron, wild side dogs. They stood the test of time. Honestly.
Yeah, they now on that red boy stuff, and I've always been, like I said, I've always been kind of forced into it myself a lot. When all that stuff goes all the way back, it goes back to Colby. It's a lot of Colby stuff.
Yes. Well, they originally brought them over here from Ireland.
That's what I'm saying. So Colby's Dime and them, that's where Teal Sarge and Jeff came from.
Right. Yep.
And that's where.
Yeah, they definitely were the foundation.
Yeah, I had somebody asking me about it one time, and that's what I told them. I was like, well, I said, I knew it had all the teal stuff in it. And, but I didn't know how far it went back as far as where it went to the Colby stuff. I knew it came out of Colby's dime, like probably third, fourth generation back off of that, because Red Boy came out of, Jeff and Susie Q.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. Kills Jeff and McLeod Susie Q.
Yeah. Okay.
Yep. And then, you had, I guess you had more of the producing dogs that maybe they were just bred more, like the Deacon dog, Windy City Combine's Deacon. He was bred a pretty good bit to produce a lot of good dogs. And that's how I got mine through Deacon Jr. was actually the sire of the dual Jip I had. She was like a 31 female.
Yeah.
And, she was a phenomenal dog. She, a very, very, very intelligent dog that graduated with honors. And, I was fortunate enough to have a male that turned out, I think he was around 40. And, he was top of his class, of course, but, I was just fortunate that the good Lord allowed me to have those dogs. It was a fun run, and I love those dogs at my heart. I will always hold them high in regard.
Yep.
But I love the conditioning part of it. I love working the dog one-on-one with the dog, 8 weeks at a time. Every day you're with that dog. And, I had a daughter. You had Long's Abe and Long's Weirdo, or littermate brothers.
And Weirdo, yes, sir.
And the weirdo dog was bred a lot more than Abe, but I had a daughter off of Abe that was a phenomenal dog, beautiful little red dog, and she was phenomenal. She didn't make a yard accident at a friend's house. But she had already had two behind her, successful, when that happened. And she was phenomenal. She really was. She had injured her wrist as a puppy, jumping up and grabbing tree limbs. And the only way you could get her in any kind of shape was hand walk.
Really?
And swim. If you put her on a meal, she'd come up lame. Her wrist would swell.
Because of her wrist, okay, yeah.
Yeah, her wrist would swell up. And then, so we hand walked her and swam her. And I mean, I would do 9-10 miles a night, 7 days a week. But it was fun. I learned my lesson about trying to run one on a bicycle. Yeah.
What'd you learn on that, Spud?
Well, a 20-foot leash and a dog will pull you down a dirt road pretty good.
Yeah.
Until a rabbit jumps out of the ditch. And then you're going sideways. It's a pretty involuntary dismount off of a bicycle, but, you live and learn. So we didn't do bicycles anymore, but, I love the condition to feed. You just a vast array of feed that you would feed the dog, to give them what they need. Canned mackerel is good for a dog. Deer meat is great for a dog.
Yes.
Rice, brown rice, full of carbohydrates, various cheeses, you get calcium, phosphorus, animal proteins. It works.
And how did you transition that over into your hunting dogs? But how did you
the conditioning?
Yeah.
Just the knowledge of
conditioning to it. And did you use the same blood dogs, the same style dogs to catch hogs with as you did for the other reasons?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, you can take. For you? Well, if you bring that dog up and focus his attention on a certain thing,
yep.
9 times out of 10, that's what that dog's going to do. 1, because he wants to be obedient and please you. 2, because you have focused that drive and that controlled aggression you pointed it to that hog. You raised him up with them puppies. He's not, he's not going to be dog aggressive. 9 out of 10 times, I didn't have a problem with a dog aggressive dog. And then when you raise those same dogs up to get along with, but to focus that aggression towards swine, you really don't have an issue. And something that I found is some of the most solid hammering bulldogs that I had for catch dogs. When you put a baby pig in a vehicle with them, they want to protect it. Yeah, they don't want to hurt it. They won't hurt the baby. It's the weirdest thing that they will hammer 300 pounds of boar hog, but a newborn piglet, they will not let another dog bother.
Lily would she'd let some of its nerves. Like I said, she would, if you reached down there and grabbed a little baby pig, like you said, a little piglet, she would probably bite you.
Mm-hmm.
Like you said, she wanted to baby it. She wanted to vomit. But that dog was phenomenal as far as, anything else.
Yeah, a bulldog is not a killer beast. An American Pit Bull Terrier, a game dog, is not just some killer animal. Yes, some dogs are catch crazy. It just happens.
Yes.
You'll get that from too much line breeding. But, these dogs, for instance, that little 31 female I had, my little Roxy dog, she would hang out in the yard and play with dogs that were not aggressive to her. Mm-hmm. She would lay with a cat on the porch. She ran loose. She did not mess with anything. But if you set her in 4 walls, it was a completely different
her somewhere, then it was on.
Yes, if I pointed her in a direction, she would disassemble whatever game was in front of her.
Yeah.
And
that's the part I like about it.
Yes, but she slept with my 9-year-old daughter. My daughter was 9 when I had Roxy. That was the oldest I remember her being. And she slept in the bed with that baby. But if a thunderstorm came up, she was under the bed. She was scared of thunder.
Yep. I've seen that in a lot of game dogs. A lot of them.
Big old vicious pit bull.
Yeah, just the most vicious thing you could ever see.
Yeah, they're.
Lily didn't like fireworks or guns at all. If you picked up if you had I don't remember. I think it was Kevin had a pellet gun or something outside one day. And he grabbed it and walked around. He got out of the truck. When he did, dude, she jumped up and grabbed that thing and snatched it out of his hands. Like she just didn't like anything like that.
Yeah, they're actually life-loving dogs. Mm-hmm. But now, I watched a show. It's an old show, an old Mike Douglas talk show, and Pete Sparks was on it. And he actually showed a video of 2 dogs in battle. And, he narrated to the listeners of the show about it and all that. And, it's to each his own. In my opinion, I don't condone nor put down anyone that does anything with their animals. That's their choice. I don't like seeing animals mistreated. But as far as what you want to do with your dog is your choice. I do know that anybody that I knew that raised bulldogs, these dogs are better took care of than most people's kids.
Yes. That's a huge misconception that a lot of the activists have is and a lot of, I'll be honest with you, they have reason to believe some of the stuff because of the way you get those few bad apples. Like
not all people are good.
Yeah, they go up there and bust a dog fighting ring or whatever. And like we were talking about, a dog with a blue barrel out there. Well, these dogs have a blue barrel, but that's all they have. And their chain spot is just covered. It's knee deep in dog shit and nothing's been taken. There's no water out there. The dog is infested with fleas and ticks or whatever, wormy. So that gives it all a bad name. If these guys were really fighting dogs, if they were really doing that, those dogs would be in top shape.
Well, yeah. I mean, you're supposed to be raising athletes. Well, it's like these hog band dogs, you know.
Yeah, they're athletes.
My dogs are very well cared for. Obviously, they live in pretty good comfort because I do own a kennel building company.
I was gonna say, I know a guy who builds kennels if you need some.
Yeah, they are actually, they live pretty comfortable, and they get plenty of exercise. I live out in a very rural area, so I have plenty of room to let them run and exercise, and they get workouts and play, and even these dogs. You let two dogs that think they're an alpha male play together, it's not going to be play all the time. So you got to keep some of them separated still,
Yes,
some of them get dog aggressive or food aggressive. So you don't want to keep them together during feeding time. Things, common sense things, but for the most part, man, I can turn every one of these dogs out, let them run around together and play. They get along good, but I like keeping them healthy because even with these dogs, I get to walk them. I get to go swimming with them. I get to run with them. I get to turn them loose in the hunting club and let them run up and down the road and get in good shape. They get plenty of work because they're going to need it when they go to work.
Without a doubt. They what kind of feeding regimen do you have right now, or when you get ready for a show?
Okay, just my everyday feed. I feed the endurance formula Showtime. Okay. 3122, and it maintains them. It allows me to take them out and work them. When I want to get one ready to just be there, I spend a lot of time with them. A lot of hand walking because that's my personal favorite. Not that it does anything best for the dog, but it's a better
personal connection.
Yes, it's the bond. Because I heard this at a bay pen competition back in January, I think it was, and they said I was talking about a dog, and I said that dog just got run over bad. I said he stayed right there though. He said that dog's baying for such and such, whoever the owner was. He's not baying for himself. And that let me know that bond is that important everywhere. So when you make a personal bond with a dog, they will work harder for you than somebody else.
Oh, I agree.
Yeah, and that's in anything. Take a woods dog. I can go get your best woods dog and probably won't do that great with it unless it's just a dog that just adjusts to anybody. Yeah. But you generally can't send a great dog with a brand new person and expect that dog to perform like he does for you.
I've done it one time that's happened. And that was here recently. We sent Matt over to Coles. When we done the Shankathon last month, the guy was needing he had lost his main dog and he was needing something to get his younger dogs going a little better, They were finding some pigs, but they wouldn't finish in the race, they wouldn't seal in the deal yet. So anyway, I told him, I said, well, I got one, I'll send you. Well, he drove over here and my son brought the dog around the corner and I told him, I said, well, just call him and told Cole, I said, well, call him and see what he does, He called the dog and hello, Matt went over there and just jumped up on him and just took right to him. Well, I walked out, I walked over there close to him and Matt didn't leave his side. I said, he's your dog. Take him with you.
Yeah. He understood the assignment.
And that's the first one that I've done like that. And this is no joke. He left here and I told him that night, he was so excited to get the dog. He said, man, I'm ready to turn him loose tomorrow. I said, 99% of the time I would tell you don't do that. I said, I would say give him a week or at least a week to kind of acclimate and get used to you. I said, but I honestly think he'll be all right. And I think it was 7:30 our time that morning because he's in Georgia. So it'd be 8:30 their time. He had sent me a video and they was on number 4 or 5 with him.
There you go.
And that's what he said. He said, man, this dude is on it. I was like, I told him, I said, that's the one time. The other 99 times it ain't going to happen. But
right.
that's one of the first ones I've seen do that.
I had one named Poacher. Mm-hmm. And what happened with him, me working on the road back then, I was out of town a lot, and these old fellow lived at the house. He had a bunch of dogs. He hunted too, a buddy of mine. So he hunted my dogs for me a lot of times while I was gone. And a couple other friends, they would come by and get one or two and hunt them. And so my dogs got to where they would hunt for anybody. They really would. Like, you just come take my dog off the chain, take him to the woods, catch a hog. But it done me a favor and kept my dogs tuned up. Oh, yeah. But a byproduct of them doing me a favor and keeping my dogs in shape and tuned up was that my dogs got to where they would hunt for just about anybody.
Well, they was everybody's dogs then. They would just
yes, they were. I mean, the bulldog, the catch dog, everything. You know, I had many a catch dog since I started, but I had one that lived long enough to retire. And he retired at 8 years old, and he made it to this last November. I lost him in November 17th. But he caught everything I ever seen him to. He was a good dog, and good dogs where you find them, I bought him for $70 off of Craigslist.
Hell yeah.
You know, the runt, the oddball, the outcast of the litter, and he ended up being the best catch dog I've ever owned.
Oh, damn. So what kind of dogs do you prefer as far as woods dogs? What breed and what style? Open, silent, rough, loose?
I prefer silent dogs.
Silent?
I prefer silent dogs, and if he's headed to the next county, my dog needs to stay behind him. I'll get to him.
There you go.
You know what I mean?
That's right. You want some bottom to it.
Yeah, I want. Well, and I'm gonna tell you, my pack for many, many years was kind of butt crosses. They had a little bit of Catahoula in them, and a little bit of black mouse, and a little bit of bird dog, and a little bit of July Walker.
I got you.
And they come out of Alma, Georgia, and I hunted them dogs, that line, for about 15 years. And they all done great for me. I mean, each generation just produced more dogs for me for the next generation. And it was a perpetual thing with talent. And matter of fact, a friend of mine's got a couple old dogs now, but he's still got a couple off of mine that he still hunts with regularly, catches a lot of hogs. They were gritty, but man, they would hang in there. They would stay. I mean, they would stay all day long with them. And so they were a mixed up bunch of mutts, honestly, but they was quiet ones. And I like that. It was a thing I used to just enjoy being able to say if you hear him barking, you're looking at him.
Yeah, that's, and we got a lot of dogs like that. This past weekend we hunted with a different style dog, you know, going with Cody and them. And it didn't, I figured it would affect ours a little more, but like it didn't. Their dogs, you know, they bark a little more, but the thing about it is they got a lot of bottom to them. Like you said, they'll stay with them.
Yes.
And they got speed. If they're fast and they stay with them, then it don't matter if they're barking or not. You'll catch a hog, you know. I tend to like a silent dog more. And, I got where I don't really care for a real long range dog. I like something that'll get out and hunt, you know, half a mile or less.
I've caught, I don't like them long treks through the middle of the block, but you know, you do 600 yards or 60 yards. I prefer the 60 yards. I always wanted to catch one in the road ditch, but I ain't never been that lucky.
Well, I tell you what, Cody and them had the hogs there for us. They had them standing in the road, and like normally what we do is we'll send ours up a trail, and you know, they're liable to have to go out there and get one trailed up at, you know, 800 yards or half a mile or a mile, whatever it takes.
Right.
And I think it's just blew our dogs' minds. They didn't know what to think. They just run right down the road and hell, the hogs was right there.
Yeah, we do that a lot down here. You can carry your dogs up the road.
And we got smoked though. I ain't gonna lie. We got smoked on the first one. Dude, they
got out of the country.
Oh, they got out of the country quick. They went over under the Okefenokee, and our dogs, now they did get to see what that bottom was like on them, because I think it was about 3.5 or 4 hours we tried to get them back. And it was already after midnight, but it was, that was toning and hollering and all, but we finally got them to come back in, but it was just a whole different way of hunting in a sense.
Yeah.
But the pressure on the game, Jesus Christ, those hogs just run. I thought we had some runners here. Boo, no. And then we do have a few spots that's heavy pressure. But down there, like I said, every damn truck had a dog box in it.
Yeah, well, I'm going to tell you, Florida has a corporate agreement with Nike. And they issue a pair to every newborn pig when they're born. I ain't lying. But honestly, and this comes from a quote I read that an older gentleman put on, it was actually on Facebook in one of the hunting groups, that, what's happening is with the hog hunting popularity blasting off, most of the hogs that predominantly carry the fight gene stand and fight, and they get killed. The flight gene escapes to breathe another day, so your flight gene is getting perpetuated and your fight gene is dying off.
I agree.
And that's why the run and catch dogs, or the RCDs, are very popular now.
Yeah, that's what we
Problem is you better have a big pack of them, because when they hung up out there 500 yards in a bad swamp fighting that big boar hog, half of them will probably get cut down before you can get there.
We got to figure out what the gallberries were this weekend.
Yeah. Welcome to our world.
I'm telling you, hands and knees. And, we got some spots that are thick, and we've got some spots that were probably as bad or worse than the spot we were in. But just to put in perspective to people that are listening to this, when you say 500 yards, there's a lot of folks that's going to say, well, hell, 500 yards ain't nothing. When you cannot, it's like vines that are as big as your thumb or bigger, and you can't just break them, and you can't just smash them down and go over them. You're literally you're tangled up in them the whole damn trip. It's rough. It's rough.
Yeah, briars.
Yeah. And then you got briars, and then you got alligators, snakes, you got everything in the world that's going to bite you.
Yes.
And I was like, damn, this is a little different.
Yeah, well, the vines, there's a place over in my world over here, Mallory Swamp. It's a management area. It's 27,000 acres. And there's actually a block in there they call the no-no block. I've had to go 600 yards in it, and I won't ever go back in it. It's 3.5 hours. It's a bad block. There's places in there to where you're just absolutely denied access. You just have to go around. And then there's some places where you could just run wide open to them. But that's all part of it. You got to be in shape. Hog hunting's fun until you got to do that hog hunting stuff, and then it turns into work sometimes.
You ain't joking. But like I said, we had a great time there. Now there's plenty of game. It's a game-rich environment, and at night that place came alive. But
yes,
like I said, it's one of those deals where you better tie the boots up tight if you're going. And thank God it was dry, because it wasn't. They said it was about as dry as they'd ever seen it right there, honestly.
Yeah, we're experiencing some pretty dry weather. I think I'm about 2 hours from Cody and them. But you seen the load of hogs they weighed in at the Tulsa Standard tournament,
Oh yeah.
They are about it. They are definitely about it, and they're productive with their hunting.
They got some good dogs, that's for sure. I know when there's a guy named Kyle and Jason. They had their bear dogs down there. We had a bear tree, just training season, or just training stuff, and they let us come over there, fall in there with them. We got to see it, give them a hand. They had these little, like a Milwaukee chainsaw,
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's weird. It looked like a little one-handed. I don't know. It just looked weird. It was like a little mini chainsaw. But
yeah, helps you get in the woods.
Yeah, and dude, they had two of them, and they cut a trail through there, and it was still a pain in the ass. But I got to thinking, I said that would be really handy. But at the same time, if you go through there cutting stuff like that, that hog's gonna break when you get close, I imagine.
Oh yeah, yeah. Well, in some situations, I've actually rode a four-wheeler right up to the bait. I mean, step off the four-wheeler, take about 3 steps, and leg the hog. It's just all according, honestly. But now I've been to some places that we actually went over top of it. It was so thick and dropped down in on everything.
Wow.
Those places, you call them Hell's Acres.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. There ain't no doubt. There's a bunch of Hell's Acres down there, boy. Whew. But I'll go back in a minute. That's for sure.
I'll tell you, I hunted in South Carolina right outside of Walterboro here last year. Went up there to a friend's club and carried some dogs, caught some hogs. But I'll tell you, man, it was the worst briar patch I've ever been in my life. And everywhere we went was just a huge briar patch. So I would rather have the gallberries in the swamps.
You think so? You think you like the gallberries better than the briars?
Yeah, but then again, it's home to me. It's where I grew up in.
Well, that's like us. Like we have the briar patches like that, and they're thick. I mean, they're bad. But that's what I was thinking the other night when we was crawling through there. I was like, well, at least we ain't getting stabbed to death, you know. I mean, those green briars are pretty damn bad. Wait a minute. Yeah, the
wait a minute vines.
Yeah, the wait a minute vines. There was quite a few of them, but you get in a briar patch, and I don't know what it is. It's just because you're a human, I guess. You think that this thing is not as big around as a number 2 pencil. You're just gonna push it out of the way, and you get stabbed 1,000 times, and then you do it again, and then your dumbass does it 5,000 more times.
Yes.
And you just keep doing it.
Yes. I worked a job here locally building a power plant, and every Monday morning I'd get my crew lined out, and I'd go to the safety office. And the safety lady would spend about 15 to 20 minutes picking thorns and stickers out of my hands and arms for me. Mm-hmm. But it was an every Monday ritual because I'm going to hunt every weekend. And every Monday I'd go in there and get the thorns picked out of me.
I have people look at my arms like that all the time. They're like, what the hell's going on? Well, they're always tore up, you know.
Yeah, look like you got to fight with a roll of barbed wire.
Mm-hmm. No doubt.
But yeah, but it's fun, man. It's there again. It's about the dogs. Mm-hmm. It's about the working dog. Get to see them work, and you take a young puppy that you've raised, and you see it show a little bit of interest, and then all of a sudden you show up out there in the woods one day. You show up to the bay, and sure enough, there that little puppy is right there with the rest of them, just obeying that hog. Yeah. That is such an accomplishment.
It is.
To me, it's a win.
I see old Coca out there right now. I got that. I'm fired up about that little Cuban pup. I'm ready. She's too young, but I swear I'm just ready to put her out there.
Yeah, they do quite well, man. That fella's a pretty productive hunter down there. My customer with the Cuban curs, he's got some pretty good dogs, and he sends me pictures of time.
If he has a litter where he's got any available, you let me know.
All right, I will. Okay, I will be glad to.
Right, but you got anything else you'd like to add to this before we?
No, just look at here, man. I can't say enough about Dixie Dongers and the help y'all giving me. You can only help somebody so much, and Lord knows y'all tried with me. So, y'all keep up the good work, and hey, anybody that needs the encouragement, trust me, at the end of the day, it's worth it. After about 20 years of these hog dogs, it is worth it. Keep dogging.
That's right. All right, my brother. Well, we appreciate you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your knowledge.
All right. Thank you, Joey. Thank you, Nathan. Y'all keep doing what you're doing. And like I say, Animal Housing Solutions is very proud to be a sponsor.
All right, buddy. Thank you, my man. We love you.
We love you, brother. Bye, safe.
See you. Bye. Folks, that right there is about as good as you can find. Yes, indeed. And we've known him for a couple years now, and like I said, he supports everything there is about dog hunting. Everything.
That's probably one of the easiest flowing podcasts we've had, I would say.
Yeah, man. It's like
no different.
Chill.
Like every other time talking to Spud.
Yeah.
My favorite part about Spud.
Oh yeah, he's really, like I said, he's really helpful. He supports everything, hands down. Whether it's the hunting side of it, the field trial side of it, or whatever. It don't matter as long as it's dog hunting. It don't have to be hogs, just whatever. He wants to keep that heritage going, keep our culture alive. And, him having the business that he has, he also has a dog supply store down there too, Last Stand Dog Supply. So if you people need any other supplies, like I said, there's several of us out here now and we all kind of network together and have found that works way better than trying to just bump heads with each other. So on the kennels, his kennels are by far probably the best I've seen. And like I said, he builds you a kennel the way that you want it, the way that you need it for your dog. Each application, he brings it to your house. All right. Where if you live in California, he'll bring it to California. If you live in New Mexico, that's where he'll go. If you live in New England, that's in them states up there. He'll go. I know he's been to carry Johnny White some up there, Maryland. That's where Johnny lives, ain't it? And then, I know Georgia, Louisiana, all over the Southeast for sure. And then up through the middle parts of the country, just a go-getter, just a straight out hustler, big balling. Hey, plus he knew who Outcast was, you know. Oh yeah. So you got to keep that right. So that's pretty cool. So Spud's about as cool as you can get. Hey, listeners, we've had a lot of you guys contact us, and we have been interacting with y'all. We've got a couple that's coming in and gonna go hunting with us this weekend. We've got some kids that have called here and there in the past few weeks, and it's really humbling, and we appreciate it. It's one of those things that really just really keeps us pumping, just keeps us pumped up.
Oh yes.
And so we're gonna keep pushing them out. Y'all got any ideas or anybody y'all would like to see or like to listen to on the podcast? Some topics, got any questions? Keep in mind that we do the Ask Uncle Pat segment every couple of weeks. So, if you got questions for him, y'all holler at us, holler at him, get them lined up, and, we'll get to where y'all can call in and be live on the show with us. And, till the next one, y'all keep them dogs on the ground. See y'all.
Hope y'all enjoyed that episode. Stay tuned for our new episodes every Monday and Wednesday. For questions, advertising, or just to chat, email DixieDoggers01@gmail.com.